Hello, it's Tammy Morrison, and what if I shared with you how you can shift your identity through visualization? So let's get into it. All right, so consistent visualization, and I have my notes, can be a powerful tool for transforming your identity and creating tangible changes in your behavior, your beliefs, and overall life experiences. When you vividly imagine your desired outcomes, your mind begins to accept these visualizations as reality, which in turn influences your actions and thought patterns. This process can lead to significant shifts in how you perceive yourself and in the world around you. So, the thing I want to get into and cover right there is that once you start to begin to visualize whoever it is that you desire to be, if you are in the midst of shifting timelines. And so you begin to visualize this other space where you are, and you begin to really dial down in the visualizations. And so when you do it consistently, like I'm going to use an example, our friend Neville Goddard, he visualized himself being in Barbados instead of New York where he was. And he was unable to get passage on the wherever they got there on the boat, I think it was. He was unable to get passage. And so what he did was he consistently visualized himself being in his bed in Barbados when in actuality he was in New York in his bed. But he consistently visualized this to the point that passage opened up so that he could go. And he actually got to experience his bed in Barbados. And so for me, I actually use this as well. And if at all possible, I try to use this technique like over and over and over, like all the time, because it's one of my favorites, visualize. And so I can think of a time when I was wanting a new car. I decided that I was going to get this car, and it was an Optima. It was a Kia Optima. And I saw the commercial with Blake Griffin dunking over the Kia Optima. And I said, I like that car. I think I'm going to get that car. So when I said that, then I started seeing the car like everywhere that I went. Everywhere there was that car. Everywhere was that car. Everywhere was that car. And so I took it as the law of attraction. I was attracting that vehicle, and I also had visualized myself driving this vehicle. So then I decided to go and test drive the vehicle and get the vehicle. So when I went there, it didn't go exactly like I thought it should. The guy tried to talk me into 3 or 4 different cars, none of whom I was actually ever going to plan to do. All of them were, not cars that were good when you take them off the lot, but you get about a year down the road and you got all kinds of problems. And I knew this. I don't know that much about cars, but I've had so many lemons that I kind of can recognize them when I see them. So he started showing me all these things. And I said, he said, well, how much money do you have? I said, well, I have this car that I'm trading in and, blah, blah, blah. Um, and so he kept trying to tell me, and then he kept telling me, he wanted more money and all this stuff. And I said, listen, I'm not going to do that. So what I did was I snatched my keys up off that table because I had put my keys down so they could look at the car. And so I snatched my keys up off the table. I said, you know what? I said, I just want this car. I don't have to have it because I have a car. I didn't come in here walking or taking the bus or Uber or Lyft or nothing. I said, so I just want this car, but I can leave. I said, and you know what? I'll find somebody else that'll sell it to me because somebody will sell it. It's going to sell me this car. And so that was the thing. But I had already visualized myself driving this car. I had visualized it. My car, when I bought it, it had 14 miles on it. So I put every single mile on the car except for something like maybe 8 or 9 because I put on some miles to test drive it. So when I think about that, I definitely, visualize that. I definitely did. And then I'm going to share. I also have been, dreaming and asking for a new home. So I needed something that was going to be something that I could work with, something that made me feel good, a place where I had enough room, which right now I don't. And so what I did was I started sleeping in my bed. I started sleeping in my bed in the new house. Even though I didn't know what the new house was. Like we hadn't found it yet. And to be quite honest, we were planning to build on our land. And so, but what I started doing probably about over a year ago, I started sleeping when I go to bed, imagining myself sleeping in my bed in my new house. I started imagining that over a year ago. And so now here we are about to go to our new house. And I am so super excited. I mean, it is just, and it's more than I could ask or think. You know, it's so much more than what I could ask or think. I mean, it really was, but I did visualize it. And so I'm going to talk about how constant visualization leads to tangible changes. So you kind of heard a little bit of Neville's story and some of my story about how, and then I'm going to actually share some more stuff with you as well. Because visualization, it works by engaging the subconscious mind, which cannot distinguish between real and imagined experiences. So if you imagine it, it doesn't matter if it's real or imagined. So if you imagine it, then it is. When you consistently visualize your goals and your aspirations, you're effectively reprogramming your mind to align with these new images. Over time, this mental rehearsal helps to change your behavior. It helps to change your behavior because by repeatedly visualizing yourself taking positive actions, you're more likely to adopt those behaviors in real life. This can lead to improved habits, increased motivation, and a greater self-discipline. Also, alter beliefs. Visualization can help you challenge and replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. As you see yourself succeeding and achieving your goals, your confidence grows and you begin to believe in your potential. It enhances your life experiences. So by focusing on positive outcomes and visualizing a fulfilling life, you attract opportunities and experiences that align with your desires. Just simple law of attraction, y'all. Just simple law of attraction. By focusing on positive outcomes and the things that you desire and visualizing that fulfilling life, you will attract the opportunities and the experiences that align with your desires. So those things that you need will start to show up for you. Why? Because this positive mindset can lead to greater happiness and overall well-being. All right. So I want to talk about a few people. I have some examples of a few people who successfully shifted their identities. And then I'm going to share my identity shifting story. So Jim Carrey, before he was a famous actor, Jim Carrey used to visualize to achieve his dreams. He famously wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered and dated it 5 years in the future. He visualized receiving this amount and worked tirelessly toward his goal. Incredibly, just before the date on the check, he landed a role in Dumb and Dumber that paid him how much? $10 million. Okay, so that is one example. I'm going to give you an example of Oprah. Oprah has spoken about the power of visualization in her life. She used it to overcome numerous obstacles and achieve her dreams. By consistently envisioning her success, Oprah transformed her identity from a young girl facing adversity to a global media mogul and philanthropist. Lastly, but not least, and there are many examples, these are just a few that I found. Michael Phelps, he was the Olympic swimmer. He's known for using visualization techniques to prepare for his races. He would mentally rehearse every aspect of his performance from start to finish. This practice helped him stay calm, focused, and confident, contributing to his record-breaking achievements. So, you know, he won lots of golds in the Olympics and all that, and he got brand deals and sponsorships and all this kind of stuff. And so he used the power of visualization to do that. And so I want to talk a little bit about my shifting identity, which is one of the reasons why I decided to create this video. And so for me, shifting identities came like this. I have been in the medical field for 35 years, but I've been in a perpetual state of burnout for the last probably almost 15 years. And I didn't even I had no idea, had no idea. I worked 2 and 3 and 4 jobs, all of my 20s and my 30s and some of my 40s. Matter of fact, when I met my now husband in my mid 40s and I was working 3 jobs, he said, "You got to choose one. That's too much. Choose one." So I did. I chose one job, and it was very freeing, but it also was strange for me, because I had grown accustomed to working like that. Now, mind you, I have a certain lifestyle that I like to maintain, and so that's why I thought I was doing it. But what I realized is that, a lot of it was just getting away from whatever situations and issues that I had in my house. Because I said, if I go to work, I don't have to think about that. So that was one thing. And so I began to really shift that identity. I started visualizing myself in this space. I started visualizing myself, doing things to help people, but on this scale, working with people at home, and also helping people to heal, and also giving people messages of hope and love, and helping people in this way. But what I had to do was I had to release that identity, that no, I'm not, because what happened to me was I started just getting sick. Every time I went to a job, I would work it a while and then I start getting sick. Different things started happening with me, and then they just got increasingly worse and worse and worse. Like it started with fibromyalgia in 2010, and then after that it was just all kinds of stuff on top of it. And I'm pretty relatively healthy. Like I don't really even take meds. And so, but I started just seeing that stuff. So I started visualizing myself, just enjoying life and doing the things that I desire to do. I started visualizing myself being a creator, creating. And I started also seeing that I don't have to do that job in order to have money. That was the biggest shift. I started visualizing myself. And one of the things I did was I was looking for this all right, so I have this $100 bill that I made. So you can see, says 100 right there. So it's a bill that I made. And so what I did with this bill was I took a picture. I made a picture of a $100 bill and I cut it and made it into both sides. And so what I did with this was I put that into my purse. I put that into my purse and I kept it in there, along with, I think I had some cinnamon in there as well. But I put that in there because what that did for me is when I looked at it, even though I know that it's not real, but when I looked at it, it symbolized abundance for me. And so I began to use this also to visualize that there were many of those inside of my purse and many more of those inside of the bank. And so, in order for me to be able to shift that identity, let me tell y'all, it was not, it wasn't as complicated as I thought it would be. Although it did take me quite a bit of time. Now, I'm not saying that it will take you time, but it took me time because I had been in it for so many years, and it was the only way that I knew that I could make money. And so to me, it almost felt like a death. It felt like a grief. It felt like I was losing something. It felt like a loss. It felt like I had lost something because I had done it so many years and I was stuck in that pattern on loop. But as I started shifting my identity and I started doing it through this practice, I started doing it through visualizing myself in a certain place. I started visualizing myself having fun and doing things that I truly do enjoy, and also bringing in money anyway. And I started realizing that money is a circulating item. So as I put it out, I just know that it's going to come right back, and it's going to bring more. It's going to bring more friends with it. So that's the thing. So once you begin to shift your identity, whatever it is. And this was not even the first identity shift that I did. I had to do an identity shift when I got divorced. When I got divorced, I had to shift my identity from a woman who was married to somebody that was divorced. And that was a whole thing too, because I had been married for 20 years, and so it was like, I don't even know who I am. So, to be honest with you, I had to shift that identity, as well as the one that has to always be looking after the children, because the children are now grown. They're now grown and in their own house, and some of them have children of their own. And so I had to shift my identity of that into being a mother of grown children who is there to be a listening ear, who's there to counsel them, who's there to help them if they need help and they reach out. Not me imposing myself and my will and the things that my desires onto them. And so that was a shift that I made as well. And I made it the same way. I visualized myself. And you know what? You probably say, this girl is a big dreamer. But I'm telling you, I have always been her. I've always been a big dreamer. But what it is now I'm realizing that as a dreamer, I am consciously creating. And so this is what I'm sharing with you today, especially as it relates to shifting your identity through visualization. Because when it's time to shift your identity, and when it's time for you um, to move into the next version of yourself, because that's what it feels like to me. It's like I am moving to this next version of myself, this version who cares about me, me, this version who cares about me. Because sometimes we are in these identities that we don't care about us. We care about our children. We care about our relationship, our partner. We care about our jobs. We care about our churches, but we don't care for us. And so this is the greatest and the biggest identity shift for me, is really beginning to understand that I have to love on me. And also looking at, what does love look like? What does that type of love look like for me? All right. So I hope that you got something out of this, because it just flowed through me and I knew that it was something I had to share. I think I might actually have a little bit more in my notes. Hold on. Oh, yeah. So the importance of patience and perseverance and unwavering belief. And that is, I think I just covered a lot of that already, because while visualization is a powerful tool, it requires patience and perseverance, and also an unwavering belief in your potential. So you got to know who you are, and one thing that I recommend for that, and this is not that video, but I recommend mirror work. Mirror work is powerful for that. Get in the mirror and tell yourself, and do it when you're naked. Tell yourself who you are. Tell yourself who you are. Talk to yourself in the mirror and tell yourself who you are. If you are a badass, tell yourself you are badass. If you are the best baker in the planet, tell yourself, I am the best baker in the planet. If you are the best doctor in the world, tell yourself, I'm the best doctor in the world. I am able to perform, however many surgeries and this and that. You tell yourself the things that you desire. Like I tell myself, I am a best-selling author. I am also a PhD in ancestral healing. I am also a person who loves to help people. You know what I mean? But tell yourself who you are in the mirror. I'm telling you, it works. And then stay committed, because consistency is key. Consistency. Make visualization a daily practice and be patient with yourself as you work towards your goals. So give yourself grace. You know, I started visualizing and it was a little challenge for me, but the more that I do it, and I do it multiple times a day. Now, I don't have to clock in at anybody's job right now, so I can do that. But if you have to clock in at people's jobs, then you might want to do it in the morning before you get up, and at night before you go to bed. And if you take a break, you might want to do it. But I'm telling you, the more that you do it, you'll get addicted to it, because it's amazing how it works. You want to overcome doubts. It's natural to experience doubts and setbacks along the way. You want to maintain a strong belief in your abilities and trust the process. I love that phrase. Maintain a strong belief in your abilities and trust the process. And then you want to celebrate progress, acknowledging and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. This positive reinforcement will keep you motivated and focused on your journey. So, in conclusion, by embracing visualization with patience, perseverance, and belief, you can shift your identity and create a life that truly reflects your deepest desires and aspirations. And I am telling you, because I am a living witness, that, the more that I get into visualization, the more that I can see what a gift it is. And so if you will get into visualizing, who you desire to be, visualizing what you desire to have. I told you the story about me visualizing my car. And I also told you about how I shifted my identity from someone who works in the medical field to someone who works for God. I had to shift that identity. And so as you do that, things will begin to line up, and opportunities and even connections will begin to show up in your life. And it will be such a relief and such a blessing when that happens, just like that. So again, shifting your identity through visualization is huge, and it's something that we should all aspire to. So I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope that it's magical for you. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe on this video. And then also make sure that you look in the description and check out my Amazon links. Now, I am an affiliate, so I would love it if you would check those out and help a budding creator out, as well as my stand store, which is in the description as well, with a few different services. I also have lots of free resources, as well as some that are paid. My paid one that is amazing is my forgiveness letter, and it is in the stand store, and it's really designed to help you to forgive the people that you need to forgive, including yourself. I also have a manifesting love bundle. It is a workbook as well as a meditation for those of you who are aligning to love, because that really is the thing, aligning to love. And be out on the lookout for my new book, Aligning to Love, Energetically Becoming the Love That You Are Seeking. So I'm super excited about that. And I hope that you will just check some of those things out for me. And then if you are interested in coming into my membership, where we come in and we talk about all things manifesting, metaphysics, spiritual gifts, all of that, and we'll have Zoom calls, weekly Zoom calls, where we get together and just have these conversations. I would love it if you were there. I would love it if you were there. So definitely make sure that you are looking at that. It is also in the stand store, and it's called Remembering Who the Fuck You Are. Remember who the fuck you are, because that is really my mission, to help you remember who you are. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me and joining me, and I hope that everything is magical in your world. This is Tammy signing out with the $1 Billion Voice.